This was a short introduction of what we do in CGI. And we are from Hamburg, from the 747 studios, and we're founded in 2002 as a normal photo studio, and we added more and more disciplines to our portfolio. Not only the post-production in a time where digital photography and the digital workflows were not well known and not well accepted. Our founder, Christian Rathjen, began to do everything to get this machine working because he knew that digital photography will be a leading technology in the future. So we were sure that we were on the right track. And we added the post-production and delivered print-ready products. After this, we knew photography and post-production had come to an end, and we need computer graphics, more images that are computer generated. So, and 2 years ago he began with CGI, as a mass production, and this leads us to VR. So we can produce photorealistic CGI renderings and the meshes, and we hand it over to all other devices. We have 18 people working for us. This is a huge company, a lot of 3,600 square meters in 5 very, very big studios. And we divide ourselves in photography and film and the competence in digital imaging, and everything related to CGI, 3D animation, and all this leads into VR and AR. And then, of course, we have strategy and creation because the agencies are not really used to deal with VR and AR, so we have got to educate a lot that they get going with us, and we learn together in multiple ways. I just wanted to show some of our CGI work, that you get an impression that we really deal with photorealism. As we began, there was always the question, is this real? Can we trust this picture? And now we are at a status we can really tell our clients, yes, photoreality is not our problem. We've got to create a great image like a photographer also needs. This all is CGI. I just run through it. Oh, this girl is posted in. So it's a Grohe and Vitra as clients. Jan Kart, they produced these carpets and asked us, oh, can we land on the moon? And we said, of course, we can land on the moon. Kaldewey, this was one of our first VR cases we produced, and IKEA saw this VR case and said, okay, we buy this VR case. And Walter Knoll is very related to quality, and we can reach these clients with our photorealistic quality and render. So, but there's more. There's more than just 2D images. Evolution taught us how to deal with 3D space, and we are very related to 3D content and can understand very complex matters in 3D. So it was always a matter of survival to understand very quickly a context. And if you see the internet is 2D at the moment, and we've always got to translate 3D information from a 2D screen into a 3D space. And this is why we think a client who really wants to understand a product, he must be able to instantly see it in the own context and understand it as a 3D object in 3D space. So as we began with the digital photography, at that time we know this is the right train, we just step on it, we have no time to lose, and we are going fast forward with the train of augmented reality, because this is a technology which is really fast and easy to access for a huge amount of people. You have a great target group, and you can present 3D context in your own context. So this is our way to handle the future. Now I hand over to Fabian Knieling, who makes these wonderful machines working. And Fabian.
Thank you. And now, when we say we want to step in augmented reality, with our knowledge about 3D objects that we gained over the time in CGI, it's just with the knowledge of content that we have to port into augmented reality. There's not just the software solutions that's important, like IR Core and AR Kit, that you have to use on a device. More important for us is the data, because without any data you cannot show anything in augmented reality or virtual reality. So what there is to know is that if you do CGI, the data has a high poly count and it's a big amount of megabyte. You have to reduce the amount to use it on a smaller machine. Like, you don't have like 4 Titan X graphics cards in there, you just have a smartphone and it has to handle all this data. So therefore you reduce, as you see on the slide, the poly count from high to mid that you could use in virtual reality, and you reduce it already, like, let's say, like it's on the megabyte time, like you still stay on 15% of the initial megabytes, and then you can go even lower in the poly count to achieve like not even 250 or something around that kilobyte for a chair. Even if it's written CGI, it's meant to be augmented reality, the purpose, of course. It's the one step to reduce the poly count of the objects that you want to visualize. If you think about maybe a car or a bigger couch or something like this, it would not just be 3.3 megabyte initially, it would be way more. You could easily be on 40 MB. So you really need to reduce this poly count. And then you have the textures. So what makes a 3D mesh beautiful is not just the shape of the 3D mesh itself, it has to have a nice texture. If you have a fabric, you would like to see all kinds of details on it. So also there, if you start initially with 8K with the purpose for CGI to have a nice rendering in the end, you are on every texture. You can be easily on 40 MB. You have to reduce it to consider also the amount of downloads you have to think about your customer that would like to use the augmented reality application on a smartphone. So you really have to reduce this amount. As you can see here, going to high res with the opportunity for CGI still, VR and AR and so on, going down even to low res to have just the size of 1 MB per texture. You can use it in AR and web. If you think about just the sizes as you heard them right now, you could think, okay, like let's say we have an object that's 40 MB, we have like 3 textures with 40 MB, still 160 MB on one application, could work fine. But if you think about clients that would like to show a big portfolio of objects and all configurations of this object, just for example 3 models with 14 textures, you can do fast math and see how this means to be increased in memory size you have to have open for an application on your smartphone and to download. So when we think about this situation, having lots of textures and having lots of 3D meshes to show the full portfolio or part of a portfolio of a company, you need to know also like how are these working together, which objects, which 3D objects take which textures, and therefore you have to structure them. Oh no, that's the wrong. This one is the right one. You have to structure them. You have to think about the configuration matrix with all this data that you have received or produced for an augmented reality application, and create it so that the right textures are on the right objects, because no one would like to see a couch that is looking like wood. No one would like to sit on it, I think. Or it's just a nice design, but it would be something on the soft end side that would go wrong. So having all this data, putting it into an augmented reality application, handy, it would be pretty difficult. So you have to store them with everything, with all the knowledge that you have gained, and create it into a smart storage. So like putting the 3D meshes and all their different poly counts in there, all the textures and all the different poly counts in there, and the configuration matrix, as well as, of course, metadata that is like the pricing of an object or the name of an object and the designer of an object. Put it all in there to be able to create the application that you would like. You would like to do a CGI, you can take out of the database the high-res, high-poly. You would like to make a virtual reality application, takes the mid-poly and the mid-res, and so on. So you can use it for web, and you can use it for AR as well, without every time recreating something or running in the issue of big sizes. And with all these different disciplines that you have to cover with the 3D object and with the textures itself, you can also put them together. When we thought about creating an augmented reality application, it was not just the configuration in augmented reality. No, we wanted to configure, of course, because of having the data, to configure it also already in 3D on a usual surface, and use the CGI 360 degrees rendering for doing magic windows on tablets, and also virtual reality through the Gear VR and the Oculus. And so we have created an application, and my colleague Martin will start to show you.
Okay, we can switch the monitor?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me head to the other side. So we prepared this application for Spatial, which is a brand from Rolf Benz. And they are really related to quality also, as you know. This application begins with a cover flow that you have these CG renders. This is also capable to be printed out of the data we produce. You can discover this product in 3D space. And it's not like an object movie, of course. You can really turn it around and really can pinch to the closest edge of the product, and you can really get an idea about how this works. In this 3D configuration, you can switch the colors, for example, and get more information about the product with a link to the internet. There are more complex configurations possible, that you really change geometry, and it's even so deep in information that in the stores, the people who must provide information to the clients, that they get the right information just in the right space, because if you sell things, you are not able to visualize and keep in track of all the details. And here you really can see how these möbels work. So this is a big advantage to configure in 3D space. So of course, you can have this configuration. You can switch the cloth over it, and you can switch the feet, and everything reacts in real time to the light. So you get really an idea about the product itself. This is what we are used almost, that we get a 3D impression. You could have done this in photography with object movies, that you make a lot of photos of an object, but the real big game changer for us and for the whole industry is augmented reality, that you can place the product right in front of you, and technology is evolving, and there it is. You get a real understanding about the size. It is for sure that you place this product in your own context, in your own living room, and you can really make the decision, is this thing too huge for us, or is it really my color I want to see? You can configure in augmented reality, and you can, if the cable is long enough, you can really get a good understanding about how this product works. And this is exactly what I was talking about when I said evolution taught us in 3D. You get the right information in your own context in the best possible way you can get it in augmented reality. So it is close to the fact that you have this product at your home. Of course, you cannot sit on it and you cannot feel it, but then you go to the store and have one möbel at the selling point, and at home you can configure it and decide which one you can take. Yeah. So. Yeah, and you can really discover and configure that you get an idea.
Yeah, and therefore we need to reduce some polys and some pixels on the textures and then the 3D objects to put all these 3D objects inside an application.
So this is what we wanted to say.